Hello, everyone. My name is Vince Manze, and I won't give you my age, but let's just say I'm retirement age. I am semi-retired, do mostly consulting work now, but for 20 plus years, I was president and co-president and creative director for NBC Universal Marketing. I was fortunate enough to be part of some fairly well-known campaigns like Must See TV and Save the Cheerleader, Save the World, and quite a few others. If you tuned into a show and it was not as good as the trailers were, that was me. You can blame me for that. But now like I said, I'm semi-retired and do mostly consulting work, which is important because to this conversation, because I have more time, more leisure time to do activities, and it's important that I be able to do them so without pain. And that's what we're talking about here, is not how long you live, but how well you live. I am an avid tennis player. I play at least 3 times a week, sometimes more if I get invited. And I also kayak with my daughters, and I also do a lot of boxing regimen and weight training. All of that requires that I have healthy joints and minimize the pain. So that's where I am right at the moment. To give you a little history, about 6 years ago, when I first retired, I gained quite a few pounds just going through the transitions and all of that. And it really affected my knees. I was in great pain in both knees. Important to know, in both knees. As a result, I went to a surgeon and I had my right knee replaced with a titanium knee replacement. The point being, both knees were bad. Both knees had almost bone on bone. And as I recall, we flipped a coin and went with the right knee. And I had that operation done, and it was a hassle. It was very painful. I thought the recovery time was very long and painful. The rehab, it was not a pleasant experience at all. And as a result, when I got that done, I then also changed my life around a little bit, and I lost quite a bit of weight. And as a result, the other knee stopped bothering me as much. I say as much because a year ago now, it started to bother me again. And I just wasn't looking forward to getting that replaced as well. So I started to look for alternatives, and that was when I came in contact with stem cell research, stem cell infusion, if you will, and started researching that as an alternative to surgery. And fortunately, at the same time, a member of my community, a friend of mine, he also was having knee problems, issues, and other things. He's a former Major League Baseball player. And so we had the scars and the whole thing that goes with being a professional athlete. But I noticed that he was, for his age, he was hunched over and he was limping a lot and just seemed much older than he actually was. And that was because of the knee issues. And I believe it was through Major League Baseball, he connected and had the procedure done. And he came back, not just raving, but he looked physically, he was standing straight up, walking better than I had ever seen him, seemed enthusiastic, younger. It was just the way he carried himself. He went from being this hunched over old man to being someone who looked like a former athlete. It wasn't just that he was enthusiastic about it. Anybody can say that. He looked the part. He looked it. I could tell. And that's how I started the procedure. Here's the thing. It's not like going to your GP that you've known for 30 years. This is a new thing, and there's a certain trepidation, there's a certain unknown, And so you want to feel as comfortable as possible doing this. They made me comfortable right from the beginning. And they called me back whatever length of time I wanted to talk to them. They were there for me. They would call me back. And I started to feel more and more comfortable with this procedure, because that's the process you go through. You don't just jump right in, and you go through a process. And then I was introduced to the wonderful Dr. Gellis, who is their physician, who does the actual procedure, and again, made me feel even more comfortable with it, especially since he is extremely experienced, from liposuction to hospital procedures, experimental hospital procedures. He has an amazing resume, and he's a nice guy. He has a great bedside manner, absolutely amazing. And he was willing to be accessible whenever I wanted. And again, comfort level is important. And as a result, I committed to the stem cell procedure for my left knee. Again, nothing I can do about my right knee. It is what it is. But the left knee, I just didn't want to go through that again. And listen, I wish I had done it. Skipping ahead, I wish I had done both knees at the same time in terms as for stem cells, but I didn't. So one good knee is at least better than two bad knees. I went to Chicago. I flew to Chicago from LA. I live in Marina del Rey. And I was greeted right from the beginning, right when I landed. I don't know if they do that for everyone, but I was happy that they did it for me. Again, more comfort level. Checked into a hotel when the procedure was, and again, this was all happening right away. There was no delay. I didn't have to wait around. Went to the offices and the facilities, and again, was greeted by a wonderful receptionist, Bianca Kelly, who walked me through the paperwork. And so I filled out the paperwork, and at that point, I met Dr. Gellis in person, which was amazing. And he proceeded to give me a detailed, wonderful, guided tour of what was about to happen. We went in to the facilities. He showed me the room where the procedure would take place and what would happen there as they extract. And by the way, if you want a little extra benefit, it's a mini lipo too. There is that. That's not why I went. It's not why anybody goes, but it is what it is. So he showed me the room where it would, the operating room where it would happen. It's not an operation, it's a procedure, and how it would happen, and what I might feel when it was going on, while it was happening. And then he showed me how they extract the stem cells, which would take not that long. In the meantime, after the procedure, the stem cell procedure, which was not painful at all. I don't know how to say that. It was not painful at all. So as compared to especially the knee operation, there's no comparison there. Just no comparison. After he does the extraction, the stem cells are sent to the adjoining room where they extract the stem cells from the fat cells. And in the meantime, I went to a recovery room that was just beautiful. In fact, the whole facility felt more like a spa, quite honestly, than a hospital, which was really nice. The recovery room was beautiful, and again, it was quiet, it was comforting, and there was no pain. After a while, I forget the time, maybe an hour or whatever it was, he came in and he injected the stem cells into my left knee. And that was basically what happened there. I then got up, and there was very little pain in the knee. And I went back to the hotel. There is some bleeding as you might imagine, but no pain. So you wear a little Band-Aid there. I went back to the hotel and I left the next day. That's how quickly it happened. Again, communication wonderful with this group. Once the procedure was finished, they called constantly. Dr. Gillis called. How are you doing? What's happening now? Are you okay? And so I went home, and it seemed to me that in a couple of days, the knee was feeling much better. Any pain that I was feeling started to at least abate.